We are live talking about empty nesting. So, my youngest just went off to college, and so it's been about 2 weeks. And I was realizing that I can't really come top down today and come across as an educator and here's what I know about empty nesting because I'm brand new to this situation. Number one. Number two, I'm still figuring it out as we go. And number three, I really feel that it takes a village to raise children. Like we all, as parents, need to support each other. And if this crazy thing that is social media, that is YouTube, is a place where we can come together and realize that a lot of the things that we're feeling are very common, very normal, and okay to put out there if we don't have it all figured out. So we have this situation of what is an empty nest? It's not this concrete one moment in time that, your kids are there and then they're not there. We are parents. We continue to be parents and that never ends, but there are seasons. So the house is quiet. I am really not a fan of the quiet. I know some people love it. And honestly, there were moments when my kids were little where I was like, get me some peace and quiet. But that is not actually what I really want. I love the chaos. And sometimes you don't necessarily know you love it until it's gone. So I want to talk a little bit about what is hard about empty nesting, why you might have been clicking on this video in the first place. And for me, it's that I miss things. What are the things that you miss about, or anybody that's on the channel that hasn't jumped in yet? Like, if you are empty nesting, or if you are thinking about, the fact that you might have kids leaving the house, what are some of the things that you're going to miss, do you think? Or what are some of the things that you miss right now? So Mike says, I will miss the family events like the dance classes and the little league games. Oh, right. Like where the kids are excited and they have their little uniforms. I don't have kids, but this can help me get perspective for my parents. I'm so glad that you said that, because assuming that your parents are empty nested and they're now spent a lot of time like being there for you, and now it's not easy. But on the other hand, it's really, really liberating to be in this place where you're like finding out who you are separate from being a parent. And let's see, Mike was talking about, I will miss family events, the dance classes. Oh, that's so cute. It's so sweet. I love recitals. And then we have this really sweet message from YouTube, an SEO specialist. Thank you for the shout out. What I miss is more the little things than the big things. I miss all the shoes being strewn all over, like the sea of sneakers that used to be in front of the door, the different sizes. They used to be tiny, like cute little shoes, and then they became bigger, and then they became bigger than mine. And now all the shoes are bigger than mine. And now they're like, they stay there. And a lot of times I think people maybe fast forward and poo-poo like the gravity of what can happen when you transition from having your identity really focused as being a parent to being an adult who has day-to-day life outside of taking care of young children. I'm feeling a little like emotional about this topic because when I started thinking about how to write it up, I just realized how deep it is, like how many layers there are that go beyond just noticing you're alone in the house and how that connects to identity. So that there's a lot of things. So I miss that. I miss the kids giggling. I miss those sleepovers in the middle of the night where you hear voices and you're supposed to be asleep, but deep down you just love it. I used to love the sound of voices coming from my attic, the art projects, the baking projects, the singing parties, like all of that stuff was so fun. And I've got the rose-colored glasses for people who might be watching this video that are like in the midst of the chaos that is parenting young children. Like probably don't necessarily feel so sorry for me because it's a lot. So then the other thing is, what makes it worse? One of the things that makes it worse is regret. This is hard to talk about, but I'm going to put it out there because I don't think I'm alone in having regrets. Looking back and thinking about all the mistakes I made, thinking back about all those stupid fights about things that don't even matter, or me just being irritable and wishing that I could have been so much calmer for my kids, so much better at emotional regulation, because I'm a doer and I move fast and I work fast and I'm like, and I can speak at my kids instead of to my kids, and times that I don't listen to them. And I think about, should I have worked less? Was I over focused on my job? Would it have been better if I was a homeroom mom? All of those things that I think so many of us can relate to when we feel like we've lost our opportunity to redo things once your kids are adults. Now what? Did I lose my opportunity to like impart wisdom on my children? Can I make up for those mistakes that I made? Can I undo it and do a better job of encouraging them to eat more vegetables and more fruits or less sugar? Or did I focus too much on that and they're focused on their body images? Like, there's so much stress around that. We all have times that we look back and we think, I could have done a better job. So when I focus on that, I know it makes things worse. I know that doesn't help the sadness, it increases the sadness. And so one of the things I'm working on, and I'll get to this a little bit later, is to just have a little more compassion for myself. We put so much emphasis on like our influence on kids. It's like we tell ourselves that we can be there for them and like we're imparting wisdom, whereas we're just like one person in their world. One of the things that I do that makes it worse is I tell myself that my grief is like really silly and unimportant. I think about kids being raised in war-torn countries. I think about people having food insecurity, and I know that I have none of those things. So then when I do sometimes get sad or I beat myself up or whatever. So I definitely think it makes it worse when we judge our own feelings. I don't know, put a thumbs up in the chat if you agree with that. When we not only have a negative feeling, but judge ourselves for feeling the feeling. Yes, yes, agree. Okay, so what makes it better? This is what we're going to talk about now. When I'm struggling, I always want to think about who are the wise minds that I want to turn to, who are the experts in the field. So I am turning to Tara Brach, who is the author of Radical Acceptance. She's a PhD psychologist, but also a Buddhist, and teaches the world how to be kinder to themselves. And this concept of radical acceptance is about really fully acknowledging reality as it is with openness and compassion. So whenever I'm struggling, I have a love-hate relationship with radical acceptance. It's hard for me to just be. Some people are really good at being really in the present moment. I think that's going to help with empty nesting, and I think it's going to help with other things as well, because when you miss your kids feeling sad or feeling empty, there was a child in that room. First there was a baby in that room, and then there was a child, and then there was a teenager, and now there's this empty room. So it feels almost like there's an emptiness inside, and I don't like that. I don't like negative feelings. I like positive feelings. I want to move forward. I don't want to linger in those places. And I know, because of the work that I'm in, that I can't just fast forward out of certain things, and especially grief. And I use that word deliberately because it really is grief when you're used to having a full home and it gets quieter. This idea of honoring both the positive and the negative emotions is what Dr. Brach talks about. I'm just going to put these hearts up because I love them so much. Thank you for those hearts. Yeah, I'm trying to really honor both the positive and the negative emotions. I believe in positivity and positive psychology and all of that, but I also know that I need to honor the negative feelings, because if I don't honor them, they're going to go sideways. And I don't know what, if you guys want to type in to the chat, when you have negative emotions, are you able to honor them? Do you make space for them? Or do you try to fast forward through them? Can anybody relate to this idea of, I'm going to try not to feel the negative thing and I'm just going to distract myself or plow forward? Can anybody relate to that? Negative emotions aren't easy. What are the positive emotions? So for me, and type in the chat, what are some of the positive emotions that you guys have? For me, one of the most positive things about empty nesting is time. First off, I always have access to my car. That's a positive thing. I have more time and I'm excited about that to do creative endeavors. I'm proud. I definitely feel proud of my kids and happy for them and excited for them. The fact that they're off learning and taking difficult classes. The positive feeling I have about that is, wow, you know what? Like, they are independent and that's what we've wanted for them. This is a success. This is not a bad thing. It's a good thing. Let's see, what's this question? How has empty nesting impacted your marriage? And feel free, if you feel comfortable sharing in the chat, how it's impacted your marriage. So my husband and I really loved being parents together and we did it well. Like, we really put so much time and energy into being a mom and being a dad. We loved it. We loved our kids. We loved, four of us as a unit have always done really well. I'm not saying we didn't have fights and there weren't issues. Obviously, we're normal like everybody else. But for example, my husband and I have never gone on a vacation together alone since our honeymoon. We've gone on long weekends. We still have not yet gone on a week-long vacation, which we're not really sure we want to do it because we love traveling with our kids and it's so much fun. But a lot of our focus is reveling in how wonderful our children are together and supporting them and challenging them. And if you follow me, you know that I'm a couples therapist and I'm married to a couples therapist. In many ways, are like now having to figure out, like, who are we as an adult couple? What do we talk about? We're really good at conflict management. We run a business together. We co-own a practice. So we work together really well. But what we've let slide is date nights. What we're trying to do now is go on dates every single night. Last night we went to the movies. We go out to dinner a lot. We're finding TV shows that we like. So we're really trying to say, okay, who are Michael and Laura outside of being coworkers that run a business together and parents? And our relationship is in some ways like it's so solid that we almost took it for granted, some of these like fun, exciting times. So that's how the answer to that question. Okay, let's see. We have a comment here. I just wanted to say your videos are truly inspiring and have helped me a lot in understanding things better. I feel there's so much I could learn from you directly. Thank you so much. It's very humbling to think that I might be saying something that is useful to you, that might be helpful to somebody that I've never even met, who watched one video, maybe it touched them or whatever. Let's see what's next here. What other question do we have? How do you feel inspired at this time? All right. So of course, we want to honor the negative feelings. We want to honor the positive feelings. We want to have room for grief. But it's always helpful to really think, how are we inspired to make change and to do things differently? I want to share a quote with you that I found that's from Tara Brach. So she says, we keep busy. If we stop, we run the risk of plunging into the unbearable feeling that we are alone and utterly useless. So that felt melodramatic for me when I first read it, to be blunt, and I know it's not, but I was like, oh my gosh, this does not apply to me. This is huge language. We run the risk of plunging into the unbearable feeling that we are alone and utterly useless. It's very easy to just be like, oh yeah, no, that doesn't apply to me. But instead I started thinking, okay, the useless part, I don't feel useless. That part didn't resonate for me at all. And then as I was planning this YouTube video, and I was like, I'm not going to use that quote because it doesn't really resonate. And I was like, wait a second. I noticed that the usefulness of being a parent is part of my identity. And I wondered if that was a theme that's only resonates to me, or if this is something that is common. This idea that we are here, especially parents, we are here to take care of children. Our identity is to help other people. It's to take care of their needs. It's to be useful. Right? So what happens when our kids grow up? What happens when they're adults? Does that mean that we're not able to help them anymore? Obviously, we still help them, but it's different, right? It's not the day-to-day, today, how am I going to help the little people in my world. And for a living, I work on helping other people. That's what I try to do. I try to help people. I'm trying to help you guys with empty nest syndrome, which I'm figuring out myself. So this idea of being useful, my way that I'm inspired is that I am trying to not think of myself only as somebody who's useful, somebody who is not only here to help other people. It's really hard to say that. Like, it's a little bit vulnerable for me to share that with you right now, because sometimes we let go of ourselves and we stop taking care of ourselves. And if we stop taking care of ourselves, then what's it all about? So if identity is about like being true to ourselves, who am I outside of being here to help and take care of other people? The message that I got from rereading that quote is that if I can be a little bit more kind to myself and realize that I am more than just what I do for other people, I am okay just for sitting here and being me and connecting with other people who are just being me. And that's why today's video, I tried to use a different format, where instead of me like up here telling you, okay, from the podium, here's what you should do, A, B, C, to improve your marriage and to have a healthy relationship, but saying, hey, you know what? In addition to me being here to help you, I'm also allowing myself to learn and grow from you guys. So we're on to Q&A at this point. Do you think empty nesting is just a continuation of your marriage from before you had children, which was so long ago? Wow. It is, right? It's a journey. It's so interesting because we're the constants, right? In the beginning, it's two people, and then they have a child together, the very first child. And you go from that very first transition from being two people to being three. But that dyad is still there. The dyad is always there. It's throughout the arch. It's still like the two parents are there, conquering the world together, leaning on each other, being there for each other, going through fight or flight. So, Mike, what your question is bringing up for me is this idea of this like thread. You date and then you have kids, and then there's this like pause point, and then you're like pausing in your relationship. And then eventually it like you come back together. And I think part of, if we really think of it, like the relationship was there the whole time, even if it was put on the back burner. Maybe that's how it is, right? If we think about it, we put it on the back burner. We would stir it when it started to bubble over, but ultimately we have to bring it back to the front burner now, because we as human beings don't want to be alone. Nobody really wants to be alone. So that's a great question. I'd really like to stay connected and perhaps share some thoughts as well. Yes, if you join the empathy course, which is all just about empathic listening, how to mirror and all of that, you will automatically get on my email list. And then once you're on my email list, then people email me all the time back and forth. Let's see, we got another question here. So Mike is saying a generation of pause. It's right. And the hard part is to keep just enough connection so that when the kids are out of the house, you're not looking at each other like you're a total, complete stranger. Clear. I want to thank you again for coming, and I hope you guys have an awesome day. Bye.